Have you ever had that moment when you know exactly what you want to say in English, but the only words that come to your mind are really basic ones? You keep saying good, bad, nice, big, small, and interesting. And somehow, even though your grammar is correct, your English doesn't sound as natural as you'd like.
Oh, that's one of the biggest signs that someone is moving from B1 toward B2. At B1, you can communicate. People understand you. But at B2, you start expressing yourself with much more precision. Instead of using the same simple words over and over again, you have choices.
Exactly. And honestly, I think that's what many English learners struggle with. They study grammar for years, but when they speak, every sentence sounds almost the same.
Right. And here's the interesting part. Becoming more advanced isn't always about learning thousands of difficult words. It's often about replacing very common words with slightly more natural ones that native speakers use every day.
So, today we're not talking about complicated academic vocabulary?
Not at all. Actually, today's vocabulary is practical. These are words and expressions you can start using today at work, at school, while traveling, or even during casual conversations with friends.
I love that because sometimes vocabulary books teach words that people almost never use.
Exactly. You'll memorize them, pass a test, and then never hear them again.
So today is different.
Very different. Think of this episode as an upgrade. We're taking words you already know and replacing them with stronger, more natural alternatives.
I like the word upgrade. It sounds much less scary than learn hundreds of new words.
That's because it really is an upgrade. You already have the foundation. Now we're improving the quality of your English.
Okay, James. Let's start with probably the most overused English word ever.
Let me guess.
Good.
Exactly.
I think every English learner says good at least 50 times a day.
Probably more than that.
So, what's the problem with saying good?
Well, technically there's nothing wrong with it. Good is a perfectly correct word. The problem is that it doesn't tell people much. Imagine someone asks, "How was your vacation?" and you answer, "It was good."
That's kind of boring.
It is. Compare that with "it was amazing," or "it was fantastic," or "it was enjoyable." Suddenly your listener understands your experience much better.
So instead of one word doing all the work, we're choosing words that paint a clearer picture.
Exactly. Let's look at a few examples.
Go ahead.
Instead of saying, "the movie was good," you could say, "the movie was entertaining."
That already sounds much more natural.
Or maybe, "the presentation was excellent."
Better than just good.
Or if you really love something, you could say, "it was incredible."
I hear native speakers say incredible all the time.
They do. Another useful word is impressive.
Oh, I like that one.
Imagine your friend shows you their new apartment. Instead of saying, "it's good," you could say, "it's really impressive."
That feels much more specific.
Exactly. The goal is specificity.
So instead of memorizing random words, we should connect them to situations.
That's the best way to learn. For example, restaurants.
Okay.
If the food is good, maybe it's delicious.
Nice.
If the service is good, maybe it's excellent.
Right.
If the atmosphere is good, maybe it's relaxing or cozy.
So every situation has its own vocabulary.
Yes, that's how native speakers naturally think.
I never realized that good is almost like a placeholder. It's the safe option when we don't know another word.
That's exactly what happens. Your brain chooses the easiest word because it's familiar.
So how do learners stop doing that?
Here's a simple exercise. Every time you catch yourself saying good, pause for 1 second and ask yourself, "Good, how? Was it enjoyable? Helpful?" effective, delicious, beautiful, outstanding, useful.
That's actually a great habit.
It is. At first, you'll need to think. After a few weeks, the better words will come automatically.
And I guess this works for writing too.
Even more, whether you're writing emails, essays, or social media posts, using more precise vocabulary makes your English sound much more confident.
I have another question.
Go for it.
Some learners worry that using these words will make them sound like they're trying too hard.
That's a common fear, but remember, these aren't advanced academic words. They're everyday vocabulary. Native speakers say excellent, amazing, impressive, and enjoyable all the time.
So we're not trying to sound smarter.
Exactly. We're trying to sound clearer.
I love that distinction.
And that's really what the journey from B1 to B2 is about. It's not speaking more. It's speaking better.
That's such an important point. Better vocabulary doesn't make conversations more difficult. It makes them more interesting, more precise, and honestly, much more enjoyable.
And we've only upgraded one word so far. Imagine what happens when we replace 10 or 20 of the most common B1 words with stronger B2 alternatives.
That's exactly what we're going to do next. So we've upgraded the word good. Honestly, that one change alone can make a big difference.
Absolutely. But now let's talk about another word that B1 learners use almost everywhere.
Let me guess. Bad.
Exactly.
I probably hear sentences like, the weather is bad, my English is bad, the movie was bad, almost every day.
And just like good, bad isn't wrong. It's simply too general. It doesn't explain what the real problem is.
So instead of saying something is bad, we should describe why it's bad.
Exactly. Let's imagine you're watching a movie.
Okay.
Instead of saying the movie was bad, you could say the movie was disappointing.
That sounds much more natural.
Or maybe it was boring.
That's probably one of the most useful words ever.
Definitely. Or perhaps the story was confusing.
That's different. The movie wasn't necessarily bad. It was just difficult to follow.
Right? And that's the key. Better vocabulary helps people understand exactly what you mean.
What about food?
Great example. Instead of saying the food was bad, you might say the food was tasteless.
Ooh, that's a useful word.
Or maybe it was overcooked.
I hear cooking shows use that word all the time.
Exactly. Or undercooked.
So one simple word becomes several much more specific choices.
That's how vocabulary naturally grows.
What if you're talking about your day?
Instead of saying, I had a bad day, you could say, I had a stressful day.
That's something people say all the time.
Or I had an exhausting day.
I love that word because everyone understands that feeling.
Exactly. Maybe your day wasn't terrible. You were just tired after working for 10 hours.
So stressful, exhausting, and challenging all replace bad depending on the situation.
That's right.
Speaking of challenging, that's another word learners should know.
Definitely. Many learners say, English is difficult.
Which is true sometimes.
Of course. But native speakers often say, English can be challenging.
What's the difference?
Difficult sounds like something is almost impossible. Challenging suggests it's hard, but you believe you can improve.
That's actually a much more positive word.
Exactly. Imagine climbing a mountain.
Okay.
You could say it was difficult.
True.
But if you say it was challenging, you're also saying it was worth the effort.
I never thought about that.
Vocabulary often carries emotion, not just meaning.
That's fascinating.
It really is.
Okay, James, I have another word that I think learners overuse.
Let me hear it.
Big.
Oh, yes.
Everything is big.
Big house.
Big problem.
Big city.
Big company.
Exactly. But there are much better options.
Give us a few.
If you're talking about a city, you might say it's enormous.
Nice.
If you're talking about a company, you could say it's a major company.
That sounds much more professional.
Or a leading company.
I hear that in business news.
Exactly.
What about big problem?
Instead of big problem, you could say it's a serious problem.
That's much stronger.
Or a significant problem.
That's definitely B2 vocabulary.
Yes, and you'll hear it constantly in meetings, presentations, and news reports.
I also hear people say huge a lot.
That's one of the most common replacements.
Like, there's a huge difference.
Exactly.
Or I made a huge mistake.
Perfect.
So we have big, huge, major, significant, enormous, and massive.
Exactly. And each one fits slightly different situations.
Now, let's talk about another classic B1 word.
Let me guess again.
Very.
I knew it.
Learners say very before almost every adjective.
Very good.
Very bad.
Very big.
Very happy.
And here's a simple trick. Sometimes you can remove very completely and replace the adjective.
Give me some examples.
Instead of very tired, say exhausted.
That's much stronger.
Instead of very hungry, say starving.
Native speakers love that one.
They do, even if they're not literally starving.
Right.
Instead of very scared, say terrified.
That's a powerful word.
Instead of very beautiful, say gorgeous.
I hear that all the time when people talk about places or clothes.
Exactly.
So replacing two words with one stronger word actually makes your English sound more natural.
And more fluent.
I imagine conversations become smoother too.
They do. You're speaking in chunks instead of building every sentence word by word.
That's something we've talked about before, thinking in phrases instead of translating each individual word.
Exactly. Vocabulary isn't just about knowing more words. It's about knowing the right words at the right time.
And honestly, I think that's where confidence comes from.
I agree. The moment you stop relying on good, bad, big, and very, your English starts sounding much more like the English you hear in podcasts, TV shows, and everyday conversations.
And we've still got plenty more upgrades to make.
We certainly do.
So far, we've replaced some of the most common words learners use every day. And honestly, the conversations already sound more natural.
They do. But now I'd like to talk about another habit that's very common at the B1 level.
What's that?
Using the same verbs for almost everything.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Learners use get, do, make, go, and have over and over again.
Exactly. Those verbs are useful, but they're often too general. B2 speakers usually choose verbs that describe the action more clearly.
Let's start with get. I feel like that word has about 100 different meanings.
It probably does.
People say, I got a job, I got home, I got sick, I got an email, I got better.
Right? And native speakers use get all the time too, but they also know when another verb sounds more natural.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Instead of saying, I got a new job, you could say, I found a new job.
That's simple.
Or, I accepted a new position.
That sounds very professional.
Exactly. Instead of saying, I got an email, you could say, I received an email.
That's one I hear a lot at work.
Every day,
What about I got better?
you could say, I recovered,
That's a really useful word.
especially when you're talking about your health.
So instead of saying, I got sick last week, but I got better, you could say, I became ill last week, but I recovered quickly.
Perfect. That already sounds much more natural.
I like how we're not replacing every simple word. We're just choosing better words when the situation fits.
Exactly. That's an important point. B2 English isn't about avoiding simple vocabulary. It's about having more options.
Okay, let's move on to another famous verb.
Do.
Yes.
Learners often say, I'm doing a project.
Which is correct.
Absolutely. But depending on the situation, you might say, I'm working on a project,
I hear that expression all the time.
because it sounds more specific.
What about homework?
Do homework is still the correct expression.
So sometimes we keep the basic verb.
Exactly. Don't replace words just because they're simple. Replace them when there's a better choice.
That's good advice.
Here's another example. Instead of saying, the company did some changes, you could say, the company made some changes.
That's a common mistake.
Very common.
And if you're talking about research,
Instead of do research, you can also say conduct research.
that's definitely something you'd hear in universities or business meetings.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about make.
Another classic.
Learners say, I made a picture.
Native speakers usually say, I drew a picture.
Right.
Or instead of saying, I made a decision, some people say, I reached a decision.
That sounds very formal.
Yes, although made a decision is still completely correct.
So again, it's about variety.
Exactly.
Okay, here's one I hear all the time.
Go ahead.
I want to go to another country.
That's fine.
But what if someone says, I want to go around Europe?
Then you could say, I want to travel around Europe.
That sounds much more natural.
Exactly.
Or instead of go fast.
You could say move quickly.
Nice.
Or if you're talking about a car, the car accelerated.
That's a great B2 word.
It is.
Let's switch from verbs to another thing learners often repeat.
Adjectives?
Exactly.
Let me guess. Interesting.
Yes.
Everything is interesting.
This book is interesting.
This city is interesting.
This lesson is interesting.
But there are many better choices.
Such as?
If something keeps your attention, it's engaging.
I like that one.
If it teaches you something, it's informative.
That's perfect for podcasts or documentaries.
Exactly. If it's exciting to watch, it's fascinating.
I love that word.
Or maybe it's inspiring.
That's one of my favorites.
Imagine someone asks, how was the documentary?
Instead of saying, it was interesting,
You could say, it was fascinating.
or it was really informative.
Exactly.
Those answers sound much richer.
And here's something learners should remember.
What's that?
Don't try to replace every word immediately.
Really?
No. Focus on 1 or 2 words each week.
That's much less stressful.
Exactly. This week, maybe stop saying good.
Next week, replace bad.
Then replace interesting.
Small improvements.
Consistent improvements.
Because if you try to learn 50 new words in one day,
You'll probably forget 45 of them.
that's true.
But if you learn 5 words and actually use them in conversations, messages, or even while talking to yourself, they'll become part of your active vocabulary.
I think that's something many learners don't understand. Knowing a word isn't the same as using it.
Exactly. Passive vocabulary is when you recognize a word. Active vocabulary is when you naturally use it while speaking.
And moving from B1 to B2 is really about turning passive vocabulary into active vocabulary.
That's one of the biggest changes you'll experience.
And we've still got some of the most useful vocabulary upgrades coming next.
Especially the expressions that native speakers use every single day.
We've talked about replacing basic adjectives and choosing stronger verbs, but I think there's another thing that really makes someone's English sound more natural.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Expressions.
Exactly. Native speakers don't only use individual words. They speak in phrases, and that's one of the biggest differences between B1 and B2 English.
So instead of learning vocabulary one word at a time, we should also learn groups of words that naturally go together.
Absolutely. They're often called collocations, and you'll hear them everywhere.
That word sounds a little technical.
It does, but the idea is simple. Certain words naturally belong together. Native speakers don't think about it. They just say them automatically.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Let's start with one that learners often get wrong.
Okay,
Instead of saying, "I did a mistake,"
which a lot of learners say.
native speakers say, "I made a mistake."
That's probably one of the first collocations everyone should memorize.
Definitely. Another one is pay attention.
Not give attention.
Exactly. You pay attention in class,
Or during a meeting.
right?
What else?
We say take a break.
Not make a break.
Exactly.
Take a shower.
Perfect.
Catch a bus.
Yes.
It's interesting because if you translate directly from your first language, these expressions often sound strange.
That's why translating word for word is usually a bad strategy.
So we should memorize complete expressions instead.
Exactly. Your brain remembers them as one piece.
Kind of like building blocks.
That's a great way to think about it.
Let's imagine someone is describing their workday.
Good idea.
A B1 learner might say, "Today was very busy. I had many things to do. I did many meetings. I was very tired."
Perfect example.
How would a B2 speaker say it?
Maybe something like this. Today was incredibly busy. I had a packed schedule, attended several meetings, and by the end of the day, I was completely exhausted.
Wow.
That's a huge difference.
And notice something important.
What?
The grammar didn't really change.
You're right.
Most of the improvement came from vocabulary.
That's actually encouraging.
It is. Many learners think they need difficult grammar to sound advanced, but often they simply need better word choices.
Let's talk about another habit.
Go ahead.
Learners often repeat the same opinion phrases.
You mean things like "I think"?
Exactly.
"I think" is perfectly correct, but if you say it 5 times in one conversation, it starts to sound repetitive.
So, what are some alternatives?
You could say, "In my opinion,"
Nice.
or "From my point of view."
That's useful for discussions.
Another one is "As far as I'm concerned."
That's definitely B2 level.
Yes, but native speakers use it regularly.
What if you're not completely sure?
Then you could say, "It seems to me."
I like that because it sounds less direct.
Exactly.
So instead of saying, "I think this movie is good," we could say, "In my opinion, This movie is really entertaining.
Perfect.
Or, from my point of view, the ending was disappointing.
Exactly.
I can already imagine these expressions making conversations sound smoother.
They really do.
Another phrase I hear all the time is, for example.
Yes,
Are there alternatives?
absolutely. You can say, for instance,
That's easy to remember.
or such as.
Oh, that's common too.
Exactly.
So instead of repeating the same connector over and over, we can vary them.
Right? The same goes for but.
Really?
Sure. You can also use however,
That's useful in writing.
or although.
I hear that a lot in podcasts.
Exactly.
What about agreeing with someone?
Great topic,
Most learners just say, yes.
which is fine.
But native speakers have so many other options.
Absolutely. You can say, absolutely,
I use that one a lot.
or exactly.
That's true.
I couldn't agree more.
That's a really natural expression.
Or simply, that's a good point.
I love that one because it keeps the conversation moving.
Exactly. Good conversations aren't just about answering questions. They're about reacting naturally.
So vocabulary also helps conversations feel more alive.
That's right.
Before we finish this part, I'd like to give listeners a small challenge.
I like challenges.
Tomorrow, try to avoid using the words good, bad, and interesting.
That's a great exercise.
Every time you're about to say one of those words, stop for a second and choose something more specific.
Maybe excellent.
Or disappointing.
Or fascinating.
It might feel slow at first,
That's completely normal.
but after enough practice,
Those better words will come naturally.
and that's exactly how your English begins to sound more confident, more fluent, and much closer to B2 level.
One conversation at a time.
And in our final part, we'll bring everything together and share a simple strategy that will help you keep expanding your vocabulary long after this episode ends. We've covered a lot in this episode already. We've replaced some of the most common B1 words, talked about stronger verbs, explored useful expressions, and hopefully shown that sounding more natural doesn't mean using impossible vocabulary.
Exactly. In fact, I'd say the biggest lesson today is that improving your English isn't about making it more complicated. It's about making it more precise.
I like that word, precise.
Because that's what B2 speakers do. They choose words that match exactly what they want to say.
So before we finish, let's give everyone a practical plan they can actually follow.
Great idea.
Because listening to a podcast is one thing, but remembering all these new words next week is another.
Very true.
So, where should someone start?
I'd start with something simple. Don't learn 50 new words today. Learn 5.
Just 5?
Just 5. But use them every single day.
That sounds much more realistic.
Imagine today's words are impressive, challenging, fascinating, exhausted, and receive.
Okay,
Tomorrow, try to use every one of those words at least once.
even if you're just talking to yourself?
Especially if you're talking to yourself.
Really?
Absolutely. Speaking out loud is one of the fastest ways to make vocabulary stick.
I think some learners underestimate that.
They do. Your brain learns differently when you actually produce the language instead of only reading it.
So instead of looking at a vocabulary list,
Create your own sentences.
for example, I'm exhausted after work.
Perfect.
I received an interesting email this morning.
Good.
Actually, maybe I should replace interesting.
Exactly.
I received a fascinating email this morning.
Much better.
I think that's something everyone can practice immediately.
Definitely.
What else helps vocabulary become active?
Repetition, but not boring repetition.
What do you mean?
Don't read the same word 20 times. Use it in different situations.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Let's take the word challenging.
Okay.
You could say, learning English is challenging.
Right.
My new job is challenging.
Nice.
This puzzle is challenging.
Same word, different situations.
Exactly. That's how your brain builds stronger connections.
I also think reading helps.
Absolutely.
But maybe not reading with a dictionary every 30 seconds.
Definitely not.
I used to think I had to understand every single word.
That's another common mistake.
So it's okay if we don't know everything?
Of course, focus on understanding the main idea first.
And then notice useful words that appear again and again.
Exactly. If you keep seeing the same word in books, podcasts, YouTube videos, and conversations, it's probably worth learning.
That makes a lot of sense.
Another great habit is keeping a vocabulary notebook.
I used to write single words,
Instead, write complete phrases.
like make a decision
Exactly,
or pay attention
right?
or take responsibility.
Perfect.
That feels much more useful than writing isolated words.
It is, because that's how you'll actually use them in real conversations.
We've mentioned this before, but I think it's worth repeating.
Go ahead.
Don't be afraid of making mistakes.
That's probably the most important advice of the entire episode.
Because sometimes learners know a better word, but they're afraid they'll use it incorrectly.
Exactly,
So they go back to saying good or bad.
which feels safer,
But that's also what keeps them at the same level.
right? Every fluent English speaker has used words incorrectly at some point.
Every single one.
Learning happens when you try, make mistakes, get feedback, and try again.
So confidence doesn't come first.
No, confidence comes after practice.
I really like that.
Think about riding a bicycle.
You don't become confident before you start riding.
Exactly. You become confident because you've practiced so many times.
The same thing happens with English.
Absolutely.
Before we finish, let's do one quick review.
Sounds good.
Instead of always saying good,
Try excellent, impressive, enjoyable, or amazing.
instead of bad,
Use disappointing, stressful, challenging, boring, or confusing.
instead of very tired,
Say exhausted.
instead of very hungry,
Say starving.
instead of interesting,
Try fascinating, engaging, or informative.
instead of repeating I think all the time,
Use in my opinion, from my point of view, or it seems to me.
and instead of memorizing hundreds of words.
Learn a few, use them often, and let them become part of your everyday English.
I think that's the perfect message to end today's episode.
Me too.
Remember, moving from B1 to B2 isn't about speaking faster or using complicated words that nobody understands. It's about choosing vocabulary that helps you express yourself more clearly and more naturally.
Every new word you actually use is another step toward becoming a more confident English speaker.
Thanks so much for spending this time with us. We hope today's conversation gave you practical vocabulary that you can start using today.
And remember, don't just listen. Pause this episode, repeat the new words out loud, create your own sentences, and use them in your next conversation. That's where real progress happens.
Keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep speaking English every single day.
We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, take care and enjoy your English journey.